I'm Heidi, and today I will be reviewing one of the most famous language learning apps and a little bit more about my background before we move on and why you might want to listen to this is that I'm a native Finnish speaker first of all, and I've been teaching Finnish since 2018 already online. I actually know quite a lot about language teaching and also language learning. I have been using Duolingo as a language learner as well, not the Finnish version, obviously, but I've been studying especially Russian via Duolingo, and it's my ongoing project. I have been studying it now over 1 year on daily basis via this app. Today I want to focus on the Finnish version of Duolingo. Is Duolingo's Finnish version worth it? I started from the very basics, the first lesson as if I was a complete new learner, and I went as far as I could with this course without actually taking every single lesson. In total, there are only 5 units in the Finnish language in Duolingo, and I passed the tests until the fifth unit, and I did also some parts of the fifth unit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any final tests, so I could have tested also the hardest exercises without spending hours and hours on this. You know, Duolingo is very repetitive, which is also a good thing. I'll talk about that also later on. I did something from each of those different units, and I'm going to show you now how the process looked like.
Because I know that many of my learners decide to start with Duolingo or they use it as an additional help. I have never opened the Duolingo's Finnish app before. I am a Finnish native, so this is going to be a very interesting experiment for me. And now, for the sake of testing this, I want to say that I'm learning Finnish for the first time and then continue. Okay, get ready for Unit 1, Lesson 1. Translate this sentence. Well, okay, first of all, actually this is not a sentence, it's a word.
Minä.
Alright. Sounds correct, sounds native.
Minä olen.
Roosa. Roosa.
It's interesting, it starts out with a Finnish name here.
Minä.
Okay, so it's clearly testing your listening skills and the difference with I and E. So, minä, that's a short sound.
Minä. Olen.
Again, testing your listening skills because this is clearly aimed for English speakers. And in Finnish, I, which is used in the first word here in olin, that would be a I sound, short sound, and then olen, E, which would be the English E letter. So they are confusing for many English learners. Okay, more names. Joni.
Joni.
Okay, Otso.
Otso.
Again, another Finnish name here.
Minä olen Otso.
By the
Minä
way,
olen Roosa.
in the previous one, Otso also means actually a bear. It's a word for bear as well, although it's a proper name. Now I am Rosa.
Minä olen Elsa. Elsa. Minä olen Joni. Joni.
It's interesting that they have taken so many names right in the beginning, like so many proper names.
Terve.
Terve. Tyyne.
Proper
Tyyne.
name again.
Kiitos.
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 Meaning thank you.
Terve, minä olen Elsa.
Hello, I am Elsa.
Kiitos.
Just
Kiitos.
Okay.
Terve, minä olen Tyyne.
So hello, I am Tyyne. Tyyne is a woman's name. What? Oh my god. So this is what sometimes happens to me in Duolingo. Like, I do things too fast because it's very simple, and then I just forget to click one word or
Sinä olet
something.
Otso.
So stupid. Okay, you are Otso. Let's try to do it.
Sinä olet Joni.
So, sinä olet
olet
Joni.
Joni. Sinä olet Elsa.
You.
Kuka?
Kuka?
Kuka sinä olet?
Kuka sinä olet?
Olet.
Sinä olet.
Interesting that the voice changes here. But I just want to point out that this is standard language, clearly, which is very understandable that they use all the standard forms here. And as I already knew, Duolingo basically doesn't explain grammar. As far as I know, at least, I have never used Duolingo till higher levels, just very, very basic level. So I've never got to see in any grammar really explained. And the same thing here as well. You can see that you're practicing some question words and pronouns, basic verb conjugation for the verb to be, but not really any explanation. It's just repetition. This is good that now they have breaking this into parts. Actually, you could click here these words, like minä, meaning I. Here they've tried to translate it as I am,
Olen.
but actually the verb is
Olen.
olen. So it's a bit funny that they've actually translated it like this, because I think this is a bit confusing if you're like a complete complete beginner learner, that why do you have two words with exact translation? Like why?
Olen.
Minä is the pronoun, olen is the verb. Well, the last one would be the correct one, right? I don't really know why they have all these other options here. Onnea means like good luck, although we use it also for kind of wishing somebody happy birthday.
Onnea.
Okay, and congratulations, and literally it
Onnea.
means also luck. So this is good that they've actually given you all of these options here.
Onnea Tyyne. Tyyne. Hauska.
This is funny. Yeah,
Haaska.
haaska, this one,
Haaska.
actually means a corpse, like an animal corpse.
Haukka.
Jesus. And this
Haukka.
means a hawk. Aiska, I guess that could be like a nickname.
Hauska.
Not really like a common word or anything.
Hauska.
But this one means funny. So, yeah, important to listen and repeat the sounds so that you get familiar with the alphabet, with the sound system, with the different long and short sounds and diphthongs and all that. Wonder, can I jump here? Yes, I can jump here. I don't really want to go through every single lesson because it's very repetitive.
Kippis.
Tyyne.
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 Mukava.
Olet.
Mukava.
Tervetuloa ja onnea.
Oh wow. Okay, this is new. Tervetuloa ja onnea. You can see that I have my corrector here, so it's even faster. Okay. I'm curious. They've taught us terve, but we have other greetings. If I say, for example, moi, does it accept it? Yeah, it does. Nice.
Kiitos Tyyne.
Could I just jump here? Well, let's just see what they're teaching us here.
Mies.
Yes.
Mies.
Mies.
Aina.
I wanted to directly jump to the highest level to see how it is and to be able to go back and forth and check different levels and the exercises they have for them. But it wasn't possible. I had to actually do the level 2 test first to be able to actually move forward. And here we have a few weird examples. It works, but in Finnish, first of all, the word kirjavat is maybe not the first word you actually need. And there's another word which is värikäs, and I think it's a lot more common than kirjava. Both mean colorful, but I would rather say värikkäät vyöt ovat nyt muotia, if you want to have this kind of a sentence at all. And then this one was a really odd one because I had to really think, what do they mean with nest ball? What on earth is nest ball? Because I've never heard of such a hobby. And then I realized that this is a direct translation from pesäpallo. Pesäpallo, which literally translates as nest ball, because pesä means a nest and ball means, well, that's pallo in Finnish. But however, pesäpallo normally is translated into English as Finnish baseball or baseball because, well, it is very similar to American baseball, but there are some differences. I'm not an expert, but I've read about this, and always when I've seen this translated, it's called Finnish baseball. I've never seen anybody call it nestball.
Entä nyt? Tee se uudelleen.
Alright, this is not made by a Finnish native speaker. This is made by an AI, but it would be more like, entä nyt, tee se uudelleen. Tee se. We would actually connect these words more.
Entä nyt? Tee se uudelleen.
This is just not a native accent here. What is this sentence? I mean, just doesn't make any sense. Again, this is very, very basic word formation to say in Egypt. We don't have any difficult grammatical changes here. We don't have any consonant gradation. We don't have any complex word stems here. You just have to know the SSA with dot suffix, how to say in. So that's kind of weird that they have this at the highest level here. It's interesting that they have chosen to use some very Finnish dishes like kisseli, and earlier we had lörtsy as well. So a lot of cultural things here, but I don't see any explanations or any images in this whole app. So when they have this kind of a sentence, I think the most appropriate thing would be to actually have an image of that Finnish dish, because it's something that is very typical of the country and you cannot find it anywhere else, or not at least in many other countries. So even if you have a translation for this, you might wonder what's kissel or what's lörtsy. It was not translated and it was not explained. at least you should have like an image or at least some sort of explanation what it is.
And it's time for a recap what I liked about Duolingo and what I didn't like about Duolingo. Let's see first the pros. First of all, it's a very beginner friendly program. You can start literally from an absolute zero with the languages that are available. And there's a lot of listening practice for beginners, and this makes learning correct pronunciation a lot easier. Even if you are learning a language which has a completely different alphabet, this is very helpful. And the reason why I'm saying this is that because I have been studying Russian now on my own, it has helped me a lot. And I really found that the fact that I could hear the word pronounced and see it at the same time was really helpful for me as a visual learner. And there's a lot of repetition, and this is good for remembering words. So you cannot just learn one word by hearing it once or seeing it once. You have to do some repetition, and the app really forces you to do this. And in the beginning, it can be a little bit frustrating because you feel like you are not going anywhere, you are going so slowly. But the harder the language is for you, from your perspective and from your linguistic background, the better this actually is. So it can be a little bit frustrating at times, but believe me, it also has its positive sides to it. And Duolingo also gives a lot of positive reinforcement. You have competitions, you have points that you gain after you complete daily challenges or after you complete these lessons, and a lot of positive feedback. So, this is something that motivates learners. Also, it motivates me as a learner and wants me to keep going. Duolingo has made gamification very well. It doesn't feel like you're really studying hard, it feels more like you're playing a funny game, right? And this is also a great app for busy people. I have been studying now Russian literally like 5 minutes a day for quite a while, and it feels like it's nothing. You can do it when you're still getting up from bed in the morning, or while you are waiting in a queue, or whenever you have a little bit of time. But believe me, those little moments really make a big difference. And after some months, you notice that, hey, I actually know these expressions, I know these words, this sounds familiar. And last but not least, this is a great app for trying out a new language. If you want to get some first touch with a language that you have no idea about and you don't know whether you want to commit to language learning seriously, you can try it out with Duolingo. Duolingo has its free version as well, which is pretty good. The only thing is that it has a lot of advertisements, and then if you feel like it, you can upgrade and get the paid version. Now, I have to say that I have used a paid version for this review. I was not sponsored by Duolingo or by any way. Then the cons. When it comes to pronunciation, the pronunciation practice is clearly mainly aimed at English native speakers. While this might be a plus for many of you, it's not plus for everybody because Finnish sound system is actually very systematic, and we normally pronounce all words the way they are written. Well, then sometimes words in multiple choice listening tasks do not have translations. This is not a huge issue in my opinion because most of the sentences and words do have translations, but sometimes it's a little bit strange that these are missing. I guess they just suppose that you already know them because you've seen them sometime earlier, but I feel like it should be there still. There should always be translations available for all of the words and sentences presented. The third point is what bugs me the most, both as a language teacher and as a language learner. Why aren't there any grammatical explanations included in the tasks? Especially when it comes to Finnish, it's impossible to learn Finnish well unless you also study some grammar. It's simply because Finnish grammar is very different from most of the languages that you speak, most likely, unless you speak another Uralic language, then maybe you have a little bit of advantage. But if not, you don't really know how the grammar works, and it might look very arbitrary. It might look completely nonsensical, although it's not. But since it's not explained by the app, the learner has to kind of just guess and acquire the knowledge. And they might acquire it to some extent, but they don't really understand the logic. And this is something that many of my students also have commented. Then sometimes there are odd example sentences or translations. Sometimes it's mainly funny when it happens, but sometimes you just come across with examples that you think, who on earth would ever say anything like this in any language? Then cultural information is sometimes also missing regarding foods that are Finnish foods, local foods. And there were a couple of occasions that I was really hoping that there was an image that would actually show what it is, because not even an explanation would make you know necessarily what that kind of food is, because it's not eaten anywhere else than in Finland. Last but not least is that sometimes some words and some sentences have quite an unnatural sound. And I think because they have used artificial intelligence for this, so it's not a real person who's reading this. Clearly, I can hear it. It's not a big issue. Mainly, it's doing very well, and you can still learn pronunciation very well. But there are these minor instances when it's not really 100%, and it does not replace a real human saying it to you. And if there's anybody from the Duolingo team seeing this review, I really recommend that you take a closer look at these things that I'm criticizing. I think that these can definitely be improved. And you can also let me know in the comments if you would add something to this list, either to the pros or to the cons, or do you disagree with something? And then the conclusion. Duolingo is a good additional tool, but if you want to take language learning seriously, you need also a good teacher. This is my honest opinion, not just as a teacher, although also that, but also as a learner. I started with Duolingo, but I feel like it's not giving me enough information, it's not giving me enough explanations, and I'm lucky enough to have also my private tutor. And to take language learning seriously, you cannot just rely on an app. You also need someone with whom you can talk about things, someone who you can consult when you have doubts, and so on. And if you want to level up your Finnish, apart from Duolingo, what can you do? You can definitely start with the app. I recommend it. Many of my students started that way. But after you have got familiar with different sounds a little bit, and you have the first touch to the language and you feel like I want to learn more, well, then I recommend you to have a look at my self-paced Finnish courses, and these are for beginner learners, very good for those who have started out with Duolingo as well. And I will leave the link in the description. I also share content that can support your daily learning, and you can find me on these social media platforms. You can find me here on YouTube, in YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram as well. I share material on vocabulary, on expressions, and also sometimes some cultural insights, for example, about Finnish celebrations. If you liked the video and the review, give me thumbs up and comment below. Stay cool and learn Finnish.